Hey people, hey, it's Monday. I haven't put up a calendar date page yet. I need to. It's May the 5th. Cinco de Mayo. Cheers. You know, folks, I could change shirts for these videos, but this is real. I mean, it's like this is what I'm wearing, you know. I change my t-shirt when I shower and stuff, but just saying, it's not a show. It's just me, okay? It's Monday. I usually do a Monday, but what I want to do today is I want to follow up on what I talked about yesterday. I'm glad I finally got around to talking a bit about my punk rock experience. There's a lot that I forget, but those are wonderful memories, and I remembered some more records that I still have. So I want to show those that are related, but I still haven't remembered everything. I wanted to respond to a couple of things when someone says, when you mention the MC5 and Stooges, you can add the Pink Fairies and Deviants. Well, see, I'm not making a list in general. I was talking about my experience. I hadn't heard the Pink Fairies when I heard the Stooges. I saw the Deviants records in the magazines when I was seeing the Stooges and MC5 back in the 60s, in the 70s, early 70s. But I didn't get a chance to hear them until later. So they were not part of my initial introduction to punk rock. I see what the person is saying, and that's true, but they weren't part of my introduction. Someone brings up the thrash metal band Death. I love them. Chuck Schuldiner. I had one of their albums, an early one, but I had to sell it. I didn't have to, but I sold it because um, I knew I wouldn't be listening to it because the production of it is so bad. I forget which album it is. It's not Leprosy. It's one of the early albums. Even Chuck and other people have talked about the how people were learning how to record this music and hadn't figured it out yet. And so the early Death album that I had was really unlistenable. But the band is amazing, and I do agree with everything said about Chuck and how he was pioneer and an amazing musician. Respect to them. Um, yeah, those were fun times. I see a name from the past that I recognize. If I saw you in person, I'd remember you, Chris Cortese. And got some feedback from Richard from FDR. And yeah, Richard, I imagine that you were well involved in the scene. That's cool that you've met so many people and that Naked Ray Gun stayed with you. Very cool. And I did have that an original of the Germs album. I was going to keep that, but the drummer from RAF, Tim Cox, if you see this, Tim, he was after me. He really wanted the album. He really wanted an original. And I thought and I put him off for years. Okay, I put him off for years. I finally relented. It wasn't the amount of money that he offered me. It was realizing really what this means to him, and how this would be a proper home for the record. And I hope I grabbed some more records related to my punk rock experience. Some of them are well known, but they're the ones that I've decided to keep. Okay, but I forgot. I'm trying not to. Okay, here we go. So I knew I was forgetting stuff yesterday, and come on, there it is. Another band that I opened for, but also played with. I actually played with them on stage, played bass, and played with this band 2 or 3 different tours. Still friends with the drummer, um, JJ. Toxic Reasons, another band of people who I just absolutely love. Bullets for You, signed. When I had the radio show on the underground illegal pirate station, there was a pirate radio station in town. I had a show. I had a punk rock show, and I had a alternative show where I played everything from Can to you name it. But on my punk rock show, I had Toxic Reasons on live for one of the broadcasts. That was a lot of fun. And being that it was pirate radio, we just cussed and said whatever we wanted to. And my experience playing with them actually on stage was wonderful because Tufty, the bass player, Tufty Clow, killer bass player, and I was honored to. He said, "Play my bass." Yeah, play my bass. I'm showing this because I became friends with the guitar player. This is a good album though. Code of Honor. Beware the Savage Jaw. There he is with his face all busted out. Mike Fox. Mike Fox, the guitarist, songwriter. He was also an engineer for Subterranean Records, this label. I mentioned it before, but he ended up in Omaha to dry out from hard drugs. Ended up making my acquaintance. Once again, we became fast friends. So it just made me realize there's punk rock singles that I kept, the ones that he gave me, stuff that he engineered and stuff. Sick Pleasure and other stuff from the West Coast. I love the guy. Similar to Rick Agnew and really many talented people, there's a wounded soul inside that person, besides the brilliant genius. I also wanted to share that I'm not sure. Well, yeah, I should have kept it, but I do have them on CD. The Kreuzen October file. But unfortunately, I must add that there was a moment of contention between myself and the singer from De Kreuzen when I wanted to buy a T-shirt, and he thought I was going to try to steal it. You know, I'd have to explain the whole story, but it pissed me off. I went ahead and bought the T-shirt, but he treated me like a in for a second. Didn't like that. I've dealt with that. Unfortunately, still deal with it, not that much in public, but vibrations and people's energy, you can feel people. So I think that kind of put me off. That might be why I sold the album. The show was great, and RAF, we kicked ass. I got along with the guitar player from De Kreuzen really well, but it's like it was just a tiny moment of like, I'm not trying to steal your shirt, just give my money. I didn't like the energy. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Some other records from my quote unquote punk collection that I've kept, or some I've actually bought since then, or were given to me. Like this was given to me. The Damned Machine Gun Etiquette. Very good band. Very good album. Just a good album. I wouldn't necessarily call it punk, just good. But when it comes to punk, I've shown this recently, The Damned, because Brian James died. Killer album. Love this album. This is an original, too. It is. I've checked it out. And their second album, I like the cover more than the record, but that's... Is it like Kandinsky? Is that what that art is like? The artist? A couple more that I had forgotten about. I used to have more Discord records, and these are the only ones I have left. And Gray Matter. Killer. This is on an interesting colored vinyl too. And notice the price. $4. I really admire what Ian McCay was trying to be about. Still has the poster and everything. This kicks butt, and it's more than punk. It has that aggression, but it's more than that. To my ears, this was the sort of thing that could have broken over, crossed over, kind of like Nirvana. Another one that musically, this is just solid rock music. Government Issue, You. Very good band. Pretty sure I have this on colored vinyl. I think these guys came through Omaha at a time when I missed hearing about. Would have loved to have seen these guys. Really good songs. The guitar player, he's got tone. He's got a good tone. Real good tone. Good band. Government Issue. Now this is an example of one of the punk records that I have listened to not that awful long ago because of the quality of the songwriting and the playing. Great stuff. I did buy the Sex Pistols. I got rid of it almost right away. But I kept these, and I've seen the Clash, saw the Clash. And this is the reissue that was put out through Drastic Plastic in Omaha, Nebraska. They're the ones who licensed to have this reissued. And the leader of Drastic Plastic, Mike Howard, is an old friend of mine. I haven't seen him. We haven't hung out, but we used to hang. I'm still in touch with his ex-wife. She is a very good friend of mine. So I kept my Clash. I have some Clash singles. Black Market Clash. I missed out on meeting Joe Strummer, but the stories of him hanging out when they were in Omaha, just missed it, damn it. I don't have London Calling out, and at this point in my collecting, if I came across it used cheap, I'd get it. Otherwise, I don't need it. There was a time when I didn't buy it when it first came out. Was underwhelmed, to be honest with you. But Sandinista, I like this. I like a lot of the experimental dubby shit on here, frankly. The Street Parade. Yeah, some of the goofy tracks on here I really like. One more from Discord. And this kills. This band Dave Grohl started in, but he's not on this album. It also meant a lot to me that the lead singer of this band is black. Scream, if you've never heard this album, this is killer. Still Screaming. Once again, above and beyond what they're trying to say in their words, it's what you feel. It's what I feel. I think you other punk rockers or former punk rockers know what I'm talking about. It's the feeling of the scream and the music and the aggression. It was cathartic. It was a way of release. It also was a way of, even if it was only superficial, it was a way of connecting with other people in the mosh pit, all the sweat. I enjoyed those days. And I loved the experience back in the early days of moshing when it was a group dance. And when someone would fall, everyone would fall over themselves, picking that person up. I also remember when it was over, and it was just, oh, everyone still does this now, but it means nothing, and there were people fighting and punching each other and being stupid. So here's a couple more. Oh yes, and I still have this. Actually got rid of it, and then it ended up, this is Paul Cuevas's copy. He was a friend of mine who died from cancer in the year 2000. I had dinner with his oldest daughter, Jenny, for Thanksgiving recently. They talked about that. But when he got to the point where he was so sick from the radiation treatment, the house just went to hell, and the cats scratched up the records, and so that's how I know. But I like this album, but again, when this came out, it was disappointing. It was like, what's with all this slickness? What's with this production on this record? Of course, it grew on me, but it was like, it's not that the Clash sold out. You can say that, but the Clash made some money, signed with the major label. They could do that if they wanted to. One more where I forget if I just went to the show or if we opened. My polysubstance use and abuse does fit in with these days. I was still doing many different drugs besides pot. I wasn't drinking, but I would do coke and stuff and psychedelics. So some memories are fuzzy. So I don't remember. It seems that I played this show. Stupids. Kept the record. Yeah, they signed it for me. You can hardly see it. That's why I'm thinking that these are a bunch of kids when they came here and played. They're just teenagers. I mean, literally. Just like on the cover here. Children. I was so impressed with them being as young as they were, being pretty good, but touring and traveling the world and getting it done. And as you can see in the picture here, they're just kids. And they laid it down. They were very good. Like I say, great memories. On average, you know, when punk rock came, I was in my 20s going into my 30s. So a lot of these people I was older than, but I still related very strongly to that youthful energy. Very much, very much. I still feel it in ways. And these are like almost like standard bearing records. And these are replacements because I sold my originals, but Ramones, Rocket to Russia, I got to meet and hang out with all of them except for Tommy. I met the Ramones so many times, 3 times at least, that the last time I saw the Ramones, when Johnny spotted me in the audience, he did this, right to me. And he was nice to me. I understand that he was a Republican and people said he was racist, but he was way cool to me, and we hung out before and after shows. And Johnny hung out with me and talked to me. Love the Ramones. Road to Ruin. I've told the story before, but it was either the first or second time. I think it was the first time that I met the Ramones, and second time I saw them, but first time I met them. And they were doing an in-store appearance before the show that night at Homer's. And I went down for the in-store because I was going to the show, but I want to meet him. And Joey was in the back room of the store having a panic attack, not wanting to come out and do the in-store. And I used to work at Homer's, so the manager, I come down, he knows my background. I was still working psych at the time, told me what was up. I went back, by request, and I have the skills. I do. I'm a people person, so I was able to sit. When I got back there, Joey was white as a sheet and dripping sweat. He was freaked out. And I was able to talk him down off the ledge. And if I remember correctly, I got to walk out with him. Love the Ramones. They were one of the bands that helped lead to me starting the band Digital Sex. I was also already playing in bands, but the idea that I could start my own band, that was part of it. Ramones Leave Home. I used to have Turn of the Century. I got rid of it, and then recently I went ahead and bought this Record Store Day 75, the Sire demos. And this is worth showing because they give you the make it desirable for Record Store Day with the splatter or whatever you want to call it. Love this music. I'd much rather listen, even though I don't listen to it now. But if I had to choose, I'm not into this country music. That's just country music. I think sucks. I'd much rather listen to noise, pure noise, or punk rock or nothing if, than listen to any country music. I mean, just a tiny bit, you know. I know that my bros like David Nance and those guys, they like country music, and it's in my it's in my background, but mostly, and it has a lot to do with the psychic nature of the United States right now. Country music just reminds me of racism and white hate. I don't want to hear it. And one more that I associate. Well, it's part. It was part of the. Was part of the New York scene. Um, Ramones, Talking Heads, Blondie, Dead Boys, Television, Marquee Moon. This is a reissue, but got to see them on when they toured with Peter Gabriel on Peter Gabriel's first solo tour. Television was the opening band. It worked. It made sense that those two groups were together, and Television smoked. They, Richard Lloyd, Tom Verlaine, they played hard and they were animated. You know, they were truly into the moment. It was a privilege to see them, and that album is a classic, Marquee Moon. So that's what I want to get on and do a part two. These records are sitting out from recent play or about to be played. Karl Bartos of formerly of Kraftwerk. This 12-inch single, 15 Minutes of Fame. Nothing special. I just like that Kraftwerk sound. Chemical Brothers, Out of Control. This is all I have by them. I think it's a blue vinyl. They are monster producers when it comes to music, dance music. Chemical Brothers are excellent. I don't collect them though, but I have most of their songs on my video collection. They make good videos. But yeah, when they make that beat slam, it slams. Here's something else that I played that I was curious about. These records here I haven't played yet. I'm not going to bother to show them unless I play them. But and I wasn't surprised when I saw this. Remember when this McCartney album came out? There was just so much brouhaha in the press about it. This is the McCartney 3 Imagined remixes, okay? But they put out multiple versions of that McCartney 3 album, different colors. And people were going crazy about it. Some of the copies were really, really pricey. And I thought to myself, let me see how this one has, because this one got slammed. People in general, I didn't hear anything good about this remix album. It's okay. But this is a double album, and I looked on Discogs. You can get this brand new for $6.99. This went way down in value. Just a commentary about the market and marketing and how people are, I don't know. I got a new installment of Discus Music to review, but the discs he sent me, none of them are released until the end of this month, so I'm going to wait to review them close to their release date to share it with you. The one thing I will say again about Discus Music is that if you truly like jazz and you're still listening to jazz in the present tense, Discus is a label for you. They're putting out modern jazz. Heard from my family yesterday. There wasn't a lot of chatter. Again, people are in different stages of doing well and being challenged. So for those of you in my family that are being challenged by this world financially, I just hope that you find a way. I do. Worrying about you isn't gonna put money in your pockets. I just hope you can find a way. Other than that, it's a beautiful day today. Ray is out mowing the lawn. I need to mow mine. I'm not going to mow it this morning because of dew. I'll wait till it dries out instead of mowing wet grass. I don't have to mow it wet. I can wait. And that's mainly what's on my mind. Thank you, folks who kept buying. Had more sales, CD sales yesterday. Thank you. I'll take more today. I'll get those out in the mail, but I'll take it. Thank you, folks. Thank you very, very much. Um, yeah, that's about it. I am in the midst of working on a new project, and it's the revision of the abstracts album that I had put together that I was going to, it's the next thing I want to release at this point. But it's changed, and I'm putting together new ideas for it. Okay, people, have a great day. I'll be quiet.